Don't forget to like and subscribe to Jolie Knots Crochet. Share with your friends. Hit that little notification bell so you can get notified when new patterns release. All our videos are available in left and right-handed tutorials. Hi everyone, welcome back to Jolie Knots Crochet. I'm Crystal and today we're going to be making these textured fingerless gloves. Now these gloves are pretty long. The gloves are pretty long. They go beyond your wrists and they go part ways up your fingers. Now you can do less rows or more rows up here. If you want it to be higher, you can customize that. You can also do less rows or more rows here if you want them to be longer or shorter. I'm going to show you how to do them in this size. Okay, the yarn that I used for this set is Lion's Brand Landscapes. Now this color is Desert Spring. It is a medium 4-weight yarn and it is machine wash, gentle, and lay flat to dry. It's very similar to like Unforgettable yarn. It's really about the same thing. Alright, the yarn that we're going to use to make this set of gloves, we're going to do the second pair today. I'm going to do that with you. And I used ice yarns. This is also 100% acrylic. It is a 4-weight yarn and it is called Cakes Blues in the purple shades. That's what you're going to look for, is the purple shades, and I can leave a link to that below as well. Alright, the hook size that we're using is a 5mm hook. You'll also need a tapestry needle to weave in your ends. Now when we get started on this is customizable to your wrist. So essentially our band is going to be a 1-row repeat and you're going to build it in multiples of 2. We're going 26 rows wide on the band, but you can decrease that by 2 rows or increase it by 2 rows to fit it properly around your wrist. But this size should fit any standard woman's hand. Alright, go ahead and grab your materials and we will get started. Okay, getting started, we are going to take a slip knot and we are going to chain 11. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Into the second chain from your hook, you're going to single crochet. And now you're going to single crochet into every chain all the way down. So you should have 10 single crochets at the end of the row. Now we're going to get started on row 2. Row 2 is going to be our repeat row. So we're going to single crochet into the back loop only of every single crochet. So you should still have 10 stitches. And then we're going to repeat this row to get to the size of the band that's necessary. Now remember, I told you add or subtract in rows of 2. So once you get your band done for your wrist, you want to measure it. If it's a little bit too small, what you'll do is add 2 rows at a time. If it's too big and you have a very skinny hand, you'll subtract 2 rows at a time. We'll be working the body in continuous rounds, and I will show you exactly how to do that. You will also need 2 stitch markers for this project. So you are going to continue repeating row 2 until you have 26 rows. Now the easiest way to count your rows is to count your ridges. So Let me show you. 2, 4, 6, 8, just like that. That's the simplest way to count your rows. You should have 13 of these ridges. All right, go ahead and finish out your band, and I will meet you back here so we can slip stitch it together and get started on the body of our gloves. Okay, I've got my 26 rows, which is about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 inches, but the rib part does expand. It is stretchy, so it should be pretty comfortable. All right, the way we're going to close this up together is we're going to try to continue working into the same manner as if we were working into the back loops going across. Only we're going to slip stitch and we're going to join into each chain. Now this is a hard color to see for your chain, but let's do our best to show you. So once we've chained one, we're going to go into the back loop only, and then we're going to go on to this other side and we're going to find the chain underneath our first stitch. Okay, now we're going to pull through all 3 loops. Going to go under the back loop of the next one, making sure that we're not skipping any chains on the other side. Go through and we'll pull through all 3 loops. And we'll continue to do that going down. You should have it 10 times. Now if you're off a stitch in your chain, you're going to want to undo that and redo it because it's going to make your band look a little bit wonky at the join. 10 slip stitches down. I've got 2 left. And there we go. Now this part will be the inside. So let me chain 1, flip it inside out. Now we're going to turn it around and get ready to work. We're going to put 1 double crochet into the side of every row. So this is not a row, this is just our chain space. We're going to go directly into the side of this first row and put a double crochet. Now our next row is going to be in the low, so we're going to go in the valleys and the mountains on the low side, and then the tall side where your ridge is. Down below on the low side, and then the tall side where your ridges are. So continue that all the way around, and you should have 26 double crochets. Okay, now that I've gotten all the way around and I have my 26th stitch, I'm going to take one of my stitch markers and I'm going to place it around the post of my stitch, and I'm going to leave it there because I'm going to use it to be able to count my rows. Now we're working in continuous rows here, so we're not slip stitching to join. Our first stitch is going to be a front post double crochet around the first stitch of our body, and then double crochet on top of the next stitch. So we're just alternating front post double crochet, front post double crochet, and then double crochet all the way around until you get to your until you get to the last stitch of the previous row. This is where we're going to be counting all our rows. So continue around and I'll meet you back at the stitch marker. Alright, here I am back at my stitch marker. My last stitch of the row is going to be a double crochet on top of that stitch. Now remember I said we're not moving that stitch marker, we're using it to count. So now we're going to take a second stitch marker and place it at the top. This was the end of our first row, this is the end of our second. So now we know we've got 2 rows. the first thing we're going to do here is a regular double. We ended on a regular double crochet, and because on this side this is front post, we're going to start with a double crochet, and then we're going to continue alternating. Our regular double crochets are going to get a front post. Our front post double crochets are going to get a regular. Alternating double crochet and front post double crochet all the way around. Each time we get to the end of our row, we'll put a stitch marker up. So I'm going to finish this row out, and then I'm going to show you how to start the next row, because it's going to be similar to where we have these two same stitches. And we're going to do that for the first 6 rows. Okay, now that we're at the end of the row, we've got our 1 stitch left, so I'm going to take my stitch marker out. And because that one was a regular double crochet, I'm going to go ahead and put a front post double crochet. And then replace my stitch marker. And now I know I've just completed 3 rows. 1, 2, 3. Okay? Now, starting our next row is also a regular double crochet, so we're going to put a front post double crochet, and then we're going to alternate. Double crochet, front post double crochet, all the way around. Your next row will start and end with a regular double crochet. So I want you to go all the way around. I'm going to let you finish out these next few rounds. We've finished 3, so finish out 3 more, and I'll meet you at the end of your 6th row. Okay, I've just completed round 6. Now, the easiest way to count your rows is to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now you know you've got 6 rows completed. Now the first thing we're going to do is into our first stitch here, we are going to front post double crochet, and then we are also going to double crochet all into the same stitch where we're beginning to increase for our thumbs. So that's going to be our first increase. Now we're going to finish out just our regular pattern around, front post double crochet and double crochet 1 into each stitch, and when we get to the end of the round we're going to do a larger increase. So finish this around and I'll meet you back at the beginning of round 8. Okay, here I am completing out round 7, and because we had that 1 increase, you should have 27 stitches in this round. Okay, now I'm going to replace my stitch marker, and we're going to increase 4 more stitches for round 8. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to double crochet into the stitch we just front post double crocheted around. We're going to put a double crochet. That's going to be our first stitch of round 8. Okay, now for the next 3 stitches we are going to front post double crochet and double crochet. So that's the first time. Our next stitch, front post double crochet and double crochet. And the last time, front post double crochet and double crochet. So we just increased 4 stitches for this round. Now we're going to finish out working our regular pattern, front post double crocheting around our double crochets, and then double crocheting on top of our front post double crochets. I will meet you back at the end of round 8. Remember to count your stitches, and you should have 31 stitches. Now that I've completed the last stitch of my round, this is the end of round 8, you should have 31 stitches. Now we're going to do 2 more rounds of 31 stitches, just alternating the front post and the back post double crochet. So our first stitch is going to be a front post double crochet and then a regular double crochet and then a front post and then a regular. So do that all the way around so you can finish out round 9, and then one more time and I'll meet you back at the end of round 10, and then we're going to create the hole for our thumb. Okay, I have just finished out my round 10. Got my stitch marker there. And now round 11 we're decreasing. We're going to decrease all the way to 25 stitches. And the way we're going to do that is actually really easy. We've got a double crochet here, so our next stitch should be a front post double crochet. What we're going to do is skip 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The next stitch is a front post double crochet. So you'll front post double crochet around that stitch, and that is the first stitch of your round. Super simple. We've just created our thumb hole. Now we're going to continue in our pattern manner, alternating our stitches, and we are going to then repeat. We're going to finish out round 11, and then we're going to repeat for round 12 and round 13, just around and around. So we'll have the end of this round and then 2 more rounds of just alternating, no increases, no decreases. We'll just continue, and I will meet you back at the end of round 13. So you should have moved then your stitch marker up 2 more times. Go ahead and work that out. I will meet you back at the end of round 13, beginning round 14. Okay, here I am at the end of round 13, and now I'm beginning round 14. We're at the home stretch. We're almost done here. So round 14 is really only going to be half a round. We're going to work our pattern out just till we get to this side, which should be at 12 stitches. So as per our regular pattern, double crochet, front post double crochet. We should have 12 stitches, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And that brings us right up to our halfway mark. Okay, now going straight from there, we're going to put a single crochet into the next stitch. This is going to be the beginning of our round 15, which is our last round. So single crochet. And now we're going to single crochet into every single stitch around. So we should have now 25 single crochets all the way around. And then you'll just slip stitch to join, or make an invisible join. Once I get there, I'll show you how to do the invisible join so you don't have the knot sticking out the top of your glove. I don't need my stitch markers anymore. And here we go. I've gotten to my first single crochet. So now I'll slip stitch to that first single crochet, and then my invisible join is I'm going to take my hook out, and now I'm going to go in from the back. So to invisible join, I'm going to take my hook out and I'm going to go into the next stitch from the back and put that yarn back on the hook and pull it through. And just like that. And then you'll do your, you'll fasten off on the inside. And cut your end, weave in your tails, done with the stitch markers. And now I've got 2 beautiful sets of gloves. right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. If you've created these, or you're going to create these, or any of my other creations, don't forget to join the Jolie Knots Crochet community on Facebook and show us what you've made. Have a great day.